If you had one lesson to give everybody in the world, what would it be?
Number one, I would say
what's the best platform to run ads on?
I would say Meta is still, the best.
Do you feel like it's important to have an organic following before you run ads? But if I just create XYZ roofing company today, I got a contract, I know how to do it. Do you think that it would be good and wise for me to just put my money into ads, or should I do some organic content myself?
No, definitely. Anyone who knows about scaling to the next level, ads is just a guaranteed way to get in front of high intent buyers that are messaging you inbound to buy.
What's the worst experience you had with a client?
The worst experience I've had with a client? There's quite
What is up, guys? Welcome to the Basani podcast. Today I got my buddy Dre in here all the way from Miami. You've been living here for quite a while. You've been here since you were 2 years old, correct?
Correct.
And he's a marketing expert. This guy knows a lot of stuff about anything marketing. So I have a lot of questions. So I've kind of studied your podcast. I've read into your backstory. You have a very entrepreneurial background. I'll give you the intro myself. You've been a hustler since you were a kid. From selling sneakers, you were that kid at school. Your parents were kind of like, all right, well, we'll help you out. We made it convenient for I've read everything. I've seen everything. And I really just want to dive in mainly, you want to make money. I get it. You want to be successful. Your parents didn't have all the money in the world. When you wanted to have things as a kid, they just couldn't get them for you. So kind of like my story as well. My mom didn't have all the money in the world. After my father passed away, my mom didn't have money. So I wanted to become successful. Very common theme for a lot of young people. Why'd you choose marketing? Why marketing?
Yeah, so I feel sales and marketing really goes hand in hand. And as you saw, looking more into my story, right, I was in sales from, 8, 9 years old when I started selling shoes and then going into selling tickets. And then I launched my first Instagram business at 17, which really was a hit, which was a fitness business. So I was just transforming people's bodies. And at that time, I didn't know too much about marketing, right? I didn't come from my parents were great marketers, right? They were always employees. So I didn't really have too much advice. So I was really just doing all the hustle strategies that I did when I was, on the come up, learning different ways when I was selling tickets, the shoes, all that different stuff. So I would have every single high schooler posting testimonials of results that I would get. And I literally had hundreds of high schoolers every day posting testimonials. They would send me leads, and that's how I was closing deals every day. By the time I was going into college, I had already done $100,000 in profit with that business. Later on with that business, I turned it into an e-com store and, grew it to $500K in sales. But that was kind of the first Instagram business where I was really learning, all the type of, hustle tactics, marketing related. And then what happened was I realized that, I don't have so much passion for transforming somebody's body as I do transforming them financially, because I realize, I can give somebody all the health tools, but if they don't even have money to pay a gym membership, pay for healthy groceries, I'm not helping them to the fullest capacity. So, I've always stayed in good shape, and I tell people to be in good shape. It's always going to be part of what I did, but I was way more passionate about being able to transform people's income. And so at that time, I used the money that I had from the fitness company to go and help my dad open a restaurant. So I've always been the investor behind it all. Still to this day, I'm putting, hundreds of thousands per year, doing all the marketing for it. And then I had a case study, not only for a small fitness company and my personal brand that I had started growing, but also for a brick and mortar restaurant. And I did all the same tactics that I did with fitness of reaching out to people and having them come in and do all that stuff. I was doing the same strategy, still not really doing ads or anything like that. And, I was bringing in customers every single day. I saw that my marketing tactics without ads, that's something that I specialize in too, bringing in business without necessarily, just doing ads. And so the second that I saw that working as well, I was like, this is it. I need to start offering these services, which are higher ticket and also monthly, because if you're making a business money every single month, they'll keep paying you no problem every single month. And so that's when I went from charging, $120 for a fitness program to minimum, $1,500 for a marketing package. In a year after I launched that, $1 million in sales, probably a year and a half after, millionaire, right? So it was just a quick transition. And, now we're here, right?
Marketing is a lot of money, especially you're in the right place with Miami. Let me ask you a very technical question. I'm going to ask you a lot of technical questions. Do you think it's better to learn, or not necessarily learn marketing? It's good to know marketing, to know if people are good or not. When you hire somebody, if they're good at videography, you got to know a little bit about videography, right? But do you think that they should in-house it, or they should hire an agency like yourself?
Definitely in the beginning, you want to in-house and try to learn as many tactics as you can, because obviously hiring an agency can be expensive. Something that I always preach is, for example, ad agencies. you're paying, minimum typically 2,500, they say, to even just set up your ads. But that's before $1 even gets put into actually anyone seeing that ad, right? So I've created marketing strategies where I can get people leads every single day with just $1,000 when, other companies are saying, 2,500 just to set up the ad. That's not even getting you one single person, right? So I definitely believe in, before paying expensive agencies, try to learn tactics that you can do to prove profitability in your business in different ways, right? Whether that's organic, whether that's, hustling and doing door to door, reaching out to people, digitally, right? All these things are crucial because obviously it can be expensive if you're trying to make profit while paying an ad agency, then paying the ads, then paying your fulfillment, all these costs. It's going to be harder than if you don't have so many costs layered on top in the beginning.
That makes a lot of sense. What do you think the best, okay, I know this is going to be like kind of a loaded question, depends on what you're running ads for. What's the best platform to run ads on?
I would say Meta is still, the best because people have started to use TikTok, but still you have some of that younger audience really.
They don't have money.
Yeah, infiltrating that space. So I'd still say Meta, in my opinion, is the best, and leveraging obviously Instagram, which is connected to that.
Another technical question. I'm going to blitz you with these, bro. Would you rather run ads through Instagram from the Meta Business Manager or just on Instagram itself? Very layup question, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, definitely through the Meta Business Manager for sure.
Why is that?
Because Instagram kind of knows, like, if you're just running it on Instagram, like, directly, sure, you can still get results, but you're just limited to, the targeting you can do and just certain specifications that you can't necessarily do. There's just a lot more tools that you're able to leverage on Meta. So I feel like the people that are running it on iPhone, like, Meta's not even doing their best job to, like, get them the best results. It's really just like, hey, let's take your money and we'll push out your video or your content a little bit. But it's not the same. Definitely, I mean, anyone that you're going to hire is not going to be doing it on the phone, right? You're going to be doing it on Meta. So I definitely say in the Meta backend.
What do you think about so there's so much stuff, like ads blew up, like recently, like in the past, I would say like 5-10 years, the amount of people that run ads and run ad agencies at an all-time high, because it's just not like simple things. It's like very high level placements, whether it's a photo, it's a carousel, it's a video, it's a local, there's so many different technicalities to ads. There's a lot of guys, this is just your opinion, the guys that say like, what if we were to come into your business right now? What do you think about those guys?
I mean,
what is that offer? Like, a lot of people ask me like, what is this, Yeah. And there's a bunch of guys that do that. Do you know anything about what their offer is? Because they say no money until we guarantee results. How does that work?
I mean, because at the end of the day, if you have a decent offer and you know how to run ads, which it is pretty simple. Like, a lot of people that are scared to learn ads or scared to, even get behind a business manager, like, they're always going to settle for just paying an agency because they just feel like, oh, like, this is too hard and they're not going to be able to figure it out. But once you do figure out ads as an agency owner, right, it's not the most complicated thing. Like, I can also guarantee any business leads from ads very easily because fortunately, ads has become pretty easy. Like, even nowadays, one of the things that works the most is like bland static ads that literally you can make on Canva without paying a designer. Like, if you just have a white background and like ugly text saying, I can get you 10 roofer leads this month, just with that and a white background with literally ugly font, it doesn't matter. You will get people to respond because people just want what that offer is. And Meta these days will actually show it to those people. So it's pretty easy to get, your business leads. Now, what I think those people may do wrong is a lot of times if the company is not so good, that offer that they're making of like, we can, get you leads is one thing, but if they don't have a good offer that can actually make those leads be profitable in the sense where, for the amount of leads that they're bringing them, they actually have a backend that's converting them on a good offer. Not everyone can make money with ads, but anyone can receive leads with ads, right? So I think like the offer becomes pretty easy. And yeah, I mean, kudos to them. Like, no hate. Like, ads is not the craziest thing in the world. If you get businesses to trust you and let you run their ads and they have no clue what they're doing, probably you can get them better leads than what they're doing. And yeah, that's what I'd say to that.
Do you look into the business fulfillment when you, like, let's say I brought you XYZ business. I sell t-shirts online, hypothetically, right? Do you look at the fulfillment process of it? Because I feel like the one concern I would have as an agency owner is I could get you really good leads, but if you have no one to close them, guess what happens? You get angry because you're not making money because you don't have a system that fulfills and closes them. Do you look at that stuff at all when you...
100%. No,
okay.
That's definitely key. And another thing that I look at too, for example, like my agency has always been known for working with every industry, but over the last I'd say like year and a half, we've really started to focus more on the real estate industry because I found a way where I charge them a base fee, but I also, since I got my license, I can take a cut when I actually bring them a buyer that purchases a home.
Of the deal.
Yeah, and I know how to bring buyers to our realtors every single day I'm doing that. So I make way more than if I'm signing, a restaurant that I can't really take a cut.
Because you're equitizing the business on a technical level.
Right. So, and obviously the margins are way bigger. So the amount of money that you can make is way more. And that's another thing too with like t-shirt companies. Like I wouldn't really want to run ads personally for a t-shirt company because I'd rather run ads for like a roofer that one lead is like a $15K deal, because that technically means I can spend $10,000 and he's still in green when I bring him that $14,000 lead, or that's just.
Do you give him discounted leads because of that? Like maybe you kind of cut the price there, but because you're making so much on the back end.
For sure. I mean, yeah. And then we work on, commission models too, right? When you're working with these high ticket people, you want to have some commission incentive as well, because you as the agency owner can make way more money that way. But yeah, I try to stay away from like low ticket stuff, to be honest, because, my job becomes way easier when, I'm working in a high ticket space like roofing or real estate, home services, I'd say for sure.
No, it makes sense. So you learned a lot of things in marketing. Right, there's an endless amount of information that constantly is being brought up. The market is shifting. What's the most difficult thing that you've learned when it comes to marketing? It may not be the most profitable or best for you. What's the most difficult thing you've learned?
I mean, you could say ads, right? Ads is, in a sense, obviously, like once you get the hang of it, it is pretty easy. But the one thing about ads that makes it not easy is that ads are always changing. The system is always changing. So one thing is like you can pay for an ads mentorship, right? And that mentorship could be like 1 month. But then after like 2-3 months, like the system is different, right? So it doesn't even matter anymore. What you learn, it might not be what's working right away. So I'd say that's probably one of the most difficult things with ads, right? And me as like the CEO of a company, that is a marketing company, my main thing is always just trying to get as many leads for the lowest price, like every day. No matter if I'm getting leads at a good price, my goal until the day that I have this company is always like, how can we keep reducing that price, of the cost per acquisition? So that's like my main challenge always, right? Along with, people that play that CMO role, but I still kind of play that for the most part in the company.
Do you create the ad when you, like, let's say you had a bit, like, I guess it depends on the business too, but do you create the ad? Because some businesses might need, because if you're trying to constantly reduce costs, I'm guessing you're going to be split testing a lot of different things.
Sure.
You're going to be putting it in, and then this is performing really well, so we'll chop the ones that aren't performing.
For sure.
Are you refilming like ads all the time, and are you creating the copy for it?
Yeah, so definitely. I mean, we're doing that for clients for sure, where, if they want to do content, we can help them on how to come out with creatives so that we can keep pushing out content. There's a lot of other ways to do it, right? If a client doesn't want to, make videos, we can just do the static ads that I was telling you about, different graphics, carousels. And then another thing is just leveraging UGC, right? So we can pay other people to make those ads that we're writing out and stuff like that without needing them. But yeah, definitely the key to reduce costs is always testing new ads all the time, because you never know when you're going to land on that, hit for sure.
So I've heard a lot of things about this with organic versus ads, right? Back in the day, I think everyone was very, very bought into ads. Then people kind of, I don't even want to say there was a shift, but some people were like, oh, only do organic. Don't even worry about ads. Ads are not useful. Now it's like a blended strategy. Ads are always going to, and I always felt like ads are just going to create more growth. Do you feel like it's important to have an organic following before you run ads? But if I just create XYZ roofing company today, I got a contract, I know how to do it. Do you think that it would be good and wise for me to just put my money into ads, or should I do some organic content myself?
No, definitely organic content, 100%. Number one is like the difference with organic is, one, if you have a video that goes viral and that video continues to snowball over like the next few months, like you have leads coming from that from a long time. With an ad, if I spend $500 today, like
you stop it.
Yeah, no one's seeing that ad tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So ads is definitely expensive. The reason why people can still make it work is if you sell a high ticket enough product, right? So if I'm selling a $5,000 product, I can make ads work. But the second I'm selling like a $200 product,
it's hard.
It's a little harder, because you're not getting too many leads for $200, right? So you really got to maximize the conversion. And a lot of times people don't show up to the calls, or, they wanted it and now they don't, right?
The only way that would work is if you have like just pointing traffic and you're just I guess like through a website, and then just click to buy, and that's all it is. It's
For
already
sure,
set up.
and those are much harder. I personally like going to like the DMs or going to a book a call and stuff like that. But 100%, I would say, building an organic audience is key. That's also going to give, the campaign good data, right? Because you can have it retarget all the organic people that are already following your page, over the last 365 days and all that stuff. And then another great thing about organic too is that if you post a video and it goes viral organically, with ads, a lot of times if you don't have any organic strategy, you're paying to see which videos would hypothetically do well organically. But with organic content, if you just, let's say over the next 30 days, you post content that are worthy of running ads to, and then you see, the top 2 that got 100K views organically, the other ones didn't. Don't spend any money running ads on the other one. Only run ads on that video with 100K because you just got, proven by the organic algorithm that that's a better creative, right? So don't even spend money on the other one. And that's what's so powerful about organic. And another thing is like trial reels now as well, right? Because
I was going to ask about that. That was my next question.
Okay, so I'll leave you to that.
No, go ahead. I want to know what your opinion is on trial reels.
I mean, look, trial reels is great because at the end of the day, I think that something as content creators, just business owners, it's like oftentimes you're worried about what you're going to post, because if the engagement doesn't do so well in it, it's just something that creators are fearful of, right? But I think with trial reels, something that's so great about it is that you can post it and they're telling you technically, that's what's happening, that your current followers aren't seeing it. So like you can kind of use that as leverage as like, oh, it didn't perform as well because like I made it as a trial reel, like I'm not even showing it to my audience. But then that lets you, just post content without really thinking about how it's going to do. And again, for ads as well, post your ads on trial reels before you're going to actually spend money on them. See which ones get the most views organically.
And then run that ad and run a campaign on that. I guess
super easy.
A lot of my content is talking content, podcast, obviously, you know what I mean? So will trial reels be effective for me? Like in case, like a lot of people post different content. Some content might be 5-10 seconds long. Mine is longer and it's information dense and it's opinionated. Do you think trial reels would be good for me to do as well?
Always. I mean, at the end of the day, you can post a trial reel back on your main page once it does well too, right? So that just lets you just post more content without you necessarily like burning your audience that's following you, right? And then you can post 3 to 5 trial reels a day, and then the ones that do well, you add them to your main for sure.
How does it like tell if like, I guess the stupid question is, if this is a trial reel and nobody's seeing it, how can they guesstimate it?
They don't really, but at the end of the day, you can also speak directly to the audience too when it is a trial reel. So you can be like, if you wanted to, right? Like, this is a trial reel, and you landed on it specifically. So I know you don't follow me, right? So it's kind of like something like that where you're speaking into it, which works really well also.
If I was a content creator, I'm just starting out. How many people hit me up? I'm sure they hit you up about, hey, I want to grow a following. What's the first thing? And I'm sure we're going to probably agree on a lot of this. What's the first thing that they should do if they want to become a serious content creator? Like 80% of children these days, kids in school are saying they want to be an influencer, specifically a YouTuber. What is the first step that you think that they should do?
Well, look, first is like finding that niche that works really well, right? So whether you want to be an interviewer or, you want to just make funny content, whatever that is, choose that. And then once you choose that, you want to go and start following all the top people in that market. So if you want to be an interviewer, you got to be following and learning all the different hooks that the top interviewers are doing. If you want to make funny content, you got to be looking at all the other stuff that they're doing. And at the end of the day, you want to add your own, creativity and be unique in your videos so that you have something that makes you stand out. I think something that works really well as well in the market is like when you have like a slogan of you. So like right now I'm talking to this one kid like apes follow Kobe. I don't know if you've seen him on Instagram, but he does these videos where he's like still good like that, and like you seen him, bro. So like now he's like, you know what I'm saying? So now he's like known for that, right? So that's like something unique. I'm also really close. I grew up with Daddy Wellness, who does like the soup. You never seen that? He's like I'll show you him after, but he's super viral. But that's another thing that I feel like helped his virality is like something unique that people can like remember him specifically for. But on top of doing that, don't try to reinvent the wheel, right? If you can recreate all the trends that are happening and stay on top of the trends, every time you do a trend, you have way higher chances of going viral. For example,
there's virality behind the audio and everything.
Right, all that stuff. Like now they have like that one trend with the Maui Wowie song, like everyone's doing that. if you post a video today doing that trend, you're more likely to get more views on that video than, you know, a talking clip that you thought was super valuable, right? Because sometimes you think it's super valuable, but like the algorithms are already detecting that content to go viral, versus yours, it's like you're feeding it something new. It doesn't really know if it can push it out. And its goal is to not really take risks, right? The algorithm doesn't want to take risks. It wants to keep pushing out what it knows is already going to keep people on the platform. So that's why you want to just keep recreating all the stuff that's already working. And then on, you know, a percentage of it, make it your own unique stuff.
Let me ask you this. If I wanted to get big, what platform should I jump on first? If I want to be famous, I make content where I do dances, you know, whatever it may be. Okay, this might gear towards TikTok, but what?
No, I would just say double posts on Instagram and TikTok.
Okay, that's what I do, yeah. And then what about Snapchat? Like, what about Twitter? What about all these other ones?
I mean, Twitter's good. Twitter's good for, like, you know, business space, right? It's really talked about in that space. But I think, you know, post your content everywhere. I always tell that to everyone. Like, I told you about my company that I started, Link Me, and how I wanted it to be a social media app too. And one of the things that I would always pitch to, like, investors when I'm trying to get them to, like, understand my idea behind social media app is because they would be like, oh, like, why are people going to use you instead of using Instagram and stuff? And at the end of the day, it wasn't why are they going to use us instead. It's like there's always room for that next platform, because you may be able to post on this platform that you don't typically, you know, always use. But then now somebody found you on there that's following on your main stuff just because they saw you on that platform at the right time, right? So I never say, like, limit yourself from posting on all the platforms, right? You should post on as many as you can, and there's always going to be someone that can find you on all of them. But definitely, I'd say, like, Instagram, TikTok, you know, are the main ones to really push the videos. And then Snapchat is good for, like, building shows and all the different monetizing ways that they're, you know, coming up with for creators right now as well.
Do you think that there'll be a new social media platform that's going to challenge? I mean, obviously there will be at some point, but what do you think it'll be like? Like, if you had to make a prediction.
I mean, there's a lot of them coming out. Like, even right now, I don't know if you saw this, but the Sora app.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Dude, I saw that and I was thinking, you know, right away about, like, my idea with Link Me, because, you know, they made, like, a social feed, right?
It has it, but there's not a lot of, like, activity on it. I don't know if you, like, scroll through it. There's not, like, a lot of comments. Like, I don't think people are commenting on each other's stuff. I think they're taking the videos and just throwing them on TikTok.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's hard to make, like, a social app work until there's, like, billions of active users on it, right? So it's always going to have less engagement. The same thing with, like, Threads, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to get the same engagement there because it's, like, not everyone commuted to that, you know, app, right? I personally don't even use it myself.
I thought Threads would be really good, honestly. Like, I was like, dang, this is going to come out and...
For sure.
But I think the reason why a lot of people favored, like, X was because they didn't care what you said on there, because it wasn't as regulated. Because you can theoretically say anything on X. X is, like, completely uncensored in a lot of ways. But I'm not even sure why Threads didn't do so well. I still click on my Instagram and sometimes I end up in Threads and I'm like, what the heck?
For sure. I think the reason why it didn't do so well is just overall, you know, when you have to transfer people over to a new platform and not everyone is transferring over to that platform and the engagement is always lower. At the end of the day, the reason why TikTok blew up so well is because they spent so much money on marketing where so many people were on the app. So the chances of going viral were so high.
Yeah.
And that is what leads you to want to keep maximizing that platform. If people were going on Threads and getting a million likes, you know, on viral topics, you know, all the time, everyone would be on Threads, everyone would be talking about going on it. But since you're getting more engagement posting on other platforms, it's like, you know, why even post on Threads, right, for some people? So that's my opinion on why I didn't do that well.
I think TikTok did very well because I remember back in the day, it's not that long ago. TikTok hasn't been around that long, but when you posted your first video, it would go crazy. For some reason, it would always, so people would create new accounts, to have
100%.
almost a guaranteed 1,000 views on everything. Then after you start dropping off, what TikTok would do, I guess it would categorize how you were posting, the virality of your videos, if it was relevant or not, and I guess they would kind of like judge your account based off of it. And now I think that phenomenon is more so gone. Let me ask you, what do you think about, like, WAP and the other side creators? Like, sometimes people tell me, hey, it's better than running ads, you know, hiring a bunch of clippers to do your stuff. I guess it would have to fit in a certain coach or a certain person.
For sure. I mean, look, the clipping at the end of the day, I was talking about this with someone actually recently. I don't personally think that it's better than ads. Like, if I put $500 into a clipping campaign, I haven't really figured out, maybe it's because I'm not doing the best proper structure. And what I mean by that is, if I put $500 into getting DMs, you know, in my account, right, a DM ad, for example, in Meta, and I put $500 into a clipping campaign, I don't get as many people messaging me, right? So here's where I think clipping works a lot. If you have a big budget, let's say I set out, I'm putting $50,000 into clipping. I don't care what happens, I'm doing it. Where it can be really good is when you start running ads and your content is being posted across many different platforms. That's going to help your ad perform better, essentially, because more people recognize your face.
Yep.
So they're quicker to stop on your content, right? So that's the power of like being virally promoted. It's going to help you perform better over time. Your content on your main page is probably going to do better because your face is more recognized when you pop up on the For You page. But I think if you're doing it at a small scale where you don't really have that snowball effect, it's not really, playing the same role as ads could do, in my opinion.
Because clipping essentially is you becoming a viral sensation. It's essentially that. Like, you're throwing your dice out, you're rolling your dice out. Depends on the quality of your content as well. Like, if you don't have hypercars or controversial conversations or anything like that, you're not going to get big. Ads, you can kind of metric out. Like, hey, if I tell you I only want $10,000 worth of sales this month for, let's say I have a product that's high ticket and $5,000, you can literally regulate it. With the clipping, it's a little bit more difficult. Let me ask you this: how has ads and marketing kind of changed your life? Like, how has it helped you? Would you see yourself doing well in fitness coaching or other things? Like, you kind of hit on it before, but was there ever a doubt, like, I'm in the wrong space, maybe I should pivot?
I mean, the only time I thought about that was like recently when I told you I started focusing a little bit more, on the real estate space, right? Because I saw like, the same time that it takes me to sell a marketing package, I could make a connection between selling, a $15 million home and then the amount of money you make on that, versus a little marketing package is night and day, which is why I've gotten, a bit more into that industry. But 100%, marketing has changed my life, and spending money to acquire customers has changed my life because I post content, we do well on our videos and stuff like that. But the reason why I don't post every day or 3 times a day is because I don't rely on organic technically to make money, right? So my business runs on like, we spend X amount of money on client acquisition and that gets us X amount of new business. Then we've also set up our company brilliantly to where we have, very strong LTV. We have very strong AOV, right? So the retention is huge. People are coming back. They're jumping on higher ticket packages. If they're starting on something small, we know how to upsell them on a high monthly package, right? So because of that, all the new customers I acquire, I'm retaining them month after month. And so it's impossible for me not to be profitable because of the systems that I've set up in my business to where, I'm not just charging somebody for a one-off course. That's another thing I pride myself in too. I don't sell a course. And the reason I don't sell a course is not because of the stereotype of like, hey, I want to be that guy that doesn't sell a course. It's actually because selling a course is going to make you make way less money. And I'll tell you why. The reason why is because if I sell you a course and you're busy, you're doing these podcasts, you're doing content, you're doing a bunch of stuff, and I come to you 5 months later and I'm like, hey bro, how's the course going? And you're like, oh, to be honest, I haven't really got to it. I can't really, I haven't really been able to watch it. And in that moment, I wanted to sell you on more. I wanted to sell you on a mentorship. I wanted to sell you on, taking things to the next level, working together on a monthly, program. But I can't do that because you're going to tell me, before I invest more with you, I need to finish watching your course. Right? But when you offer a done for you service, right? When I tell a client, hey, let me run your marketing and let me bring you leads every single day. After 30 days, if throughout those 30 days, I was bringing them leads every single day, it's going to be easy to get them to pay me on that 2nd month, 3rd month, 4th month. But if you sell someone a course, now you're relying on their discipline, and their ability to actually watch that course before you can sell them on something else.
The only thing I can say about courses is that some people get away with selling a course and then they never get the negative repercussions of it. There's a lot of like, I bought courses before. I bought some that are good. I bought a lot that are bad. And there are some that are like, absolutely, like, this is well worth the money. I guess it really depends on the person too sometimes, because you can buy a course on a certain type of, like, let's say you buy a course on ads, right? And then let's say your business changes and you find somebody that does an agency and you may not need the course anymore, right? So that's also a huge thing where like the money you spent may not be necessary anymore and what you've learned may not be relevant anymore. But I think that courses with implementation are very, very important. Like the big distinction I make is if someone's selling you just a straight info product, it's not that it's bad, it's just harder to kind of, you have to do the work. The work is not in, like, you are the work. If someone sells you a course with implementation or some kind of like success coach or some kind of people that are helping you set something up, right? We're setting this stuff up for you. We're getting this taken care of, X, Y, and Z. That is a lot more valuable because there's a little bit of groundwork there. And I think a lot of courses can fit that parameter. For example, like when I do my trading mentorship, when I bring people into my trading, I teach them everything on how to set up an account, I give out the plays too. So when you pay one time, you get a lifetime of live trading updates, live updates. Like they're never going to go away. They're constantly going to make you money, you know? And that makes people 500 to 1,000% on their investment value every single year, you know?
And now let me ask you, what makes you not want to set it up to where, it's not that it gets some lifetime? Like, why aren't you charging them a small monthly after 3 months? Instead of saying lifetime, your package includes 3 months. So now they don't feel like it's just 1 month. But after that third month, there's a percentage of those people that are sticking around just paying you 20 a month. What's holding you back from doing something like that?
I should do that. I don't. I just don't. Because for me right now, my trading mentorship is so new that I have a lot of good testimonials where people have made a lot of money. Even like Sean over here, like these guys, they've 10x their account in a year. Like in a year, they've made a lot of money. So what I'm trying to do right now more than anything else is building my testimonials. And then it kind of is a no-brainer because, they're making money, so it could be a recurring service. I could charge an upfront fee followed by 3 months. Hey, you're going to pay $100, $200 a month just to maintain that. So
and then maintain that, and then you can also include the group coaching, which is just 1 hour a month out of your time because you're doing the call with everyone at once, right? But the charging monthly is going to be huge because now you don't have to scavenger for more clients every single month. Like there's going to be those months when you can just chill. You don't even need to go and get more clients.
I was running it monthly before. Actually, I was running it monthly before, amazing. MRR, and it was good. But I talked to someone that does high ticket, and he was just like, dude, like you're profitable. You're extremely profitable. Like the numbers don't lie. Like you can look back many years. I've always made money with trades, and so it was kind of a no-brainer for me to just sell a one-time thing. Here's the other part of trading that I guess you wouldn't know. Once they get so profitable, the other offer is almost like a commission-based model. It's to put them into a hedge fund. It's to put them into an investment strategy. Yeah. And if you don't have some hedge funds take 50,000, some regulate at $1 million, some take even more. It really depends at what your entry point is. So I would say if they're making over 100,000 or they're doing over 100,000, it's a good point to entry, and then I can have the conversation. Hey man, you've been with me for a year, you made over $200,000 with me. Let's get 100,000 invested with us. We manage your trades, we handle everything for you. We're gonna take a percentage here that's conservative and aggressive, and we take a percentage of that legally. Because otherwise, if I didn't do it like that, it's technically illegal. I can't give you financial advice, and I can't regulate your trades unless I'm a financial advisor or have a serious license. That's how it works. So we don't want to get into that territory yet. So we have to either put them in the hedge fund client or just have them follow picks and signals, which is completely fine. In the financial market of what we do, it's a little bit more regulated. That's the only reason why. But yeah, I should probably just charge a recurring month-to-month model. I guess. Let me ask you, what's your experience with traders? What's your experience with doing it like that, like with people that are selling offers that are like investment based?
I mean, I don't work necessarily too much, I would say, with traders. I did work with one of them for a long time, this guy named Big Gains Club. He's been my client for some time. I don't know if you know him. He's kind of big in the trading space. But no, the reason why I always recommend overall just charging monthly just goes back to the fact that that's going to help you grow your business in so many ways. Stabilized. Now the money that is coming in allows you to, put down on an investment property because you have X amount of capital that's guaranteed every single month. It allows you to pay for X amount of ads every single month guaranteed without, needing to think about, are you making profit on every single ad? It just allows you to grow your business a lot more freely. And it's 100% what changed my life. That's why I'm telling you, because I sell high ticket, but I make sure that any high ticket deliverable that I'm selling also includes a monthly subscription, whether it's a low ticket monthly subscription of 150, 250, all the way up to obviously $10,000 a month. But highly recommend that because that allowed me to continue to spend money on ads, grow super aggressively, invest in top talent, team members, right, that I can pay right. It helped me also get the investment property that I talked to you about. At 22 years old, I bought a $1.5 million apartment, that unfortunately in the United States, they make it pretty hard to make money on your investment properties. So I've had to, use the funds from the marketing agency to keep it alive. And, having the monthly subscriptions makes it easy, right?
Real estate takes time. Your property has what, 28 units? Was it 22 or 28 units?
Oh, so that's a multifamily that I invested in. Okay. We turned it into 26 units, which actually is just finished now, about to start renting. But then I also bought a 3-bedroom apartment at the Elser. And the reason why it's difficult is because, I did it the right way as an investment property. And when you do that, not only do you have to put way more money on the down payment, so I got fucked. I had to put, 40% down. I was super young. But then on top of that, the property tax is super expensive. So I pay like $30,000 a year in property tax, and the HOA is like $22,000 a year. So
You got to get into stocks, man.
I mean, I do that. You know, I have crypto and stocks for sure.
Listen,
Definitely.
man, I've
Real
seen
estate is just, you know, a little side plan.
Real estate is a lot more attractive for a lot of people because it's so tangible. People like the idea of like, this is my house,
For
you know,
sure.
and they like that tangibility. Stocks is like an in the air concept. And the thing that's scary about stocks is you can lose money in a way. Real estate, you can lose money in real estate, like you can, but it's a lot harder to lose money. Theoretically, if you buy a house 30 years ago, pretty much every single property that you bought 30 years ago
sure.
is not worth less. And with stocks, there are companies that were very highly valued at one point and they went to completely zero. And stocks are also psychologically backwards for people. People, when things are good, if the party's great, there's a lot of women. I don't know if you have a girlfriend or not, but like we're having fun, drinks are flowing. We want to stay. We want to be like, hey, let's just chill for another 30 minutes. But if there's a fire that breaks out, we want to leave. Stocks are the opposite. When things are bad, sometimes it's actually good to stay because things can rebound. And when things are very good, a lot of times what you should do is get out, take your profits and cut your risk. That's theoretically what stocks, the psychology of it. So people are very backwards wired. But I love stocks because I have liquidity in my money. The percentage gains I make on that are insane. I've seen very rare examples of things performing that way, and it's very rare, so it's not common. And we consistently perform on a high level. The problem with stocks is you need to be you need to do it for a long time. Like you need to be very, very in it. You have to make it a lifestyle choice. Even in the financial markets itself, like I'm mainly in options and just shares. And there's a lot of other strategies that people employ that are very good, if not arguably better than what I do. But I'm very niched into one thing, and I still don't feel like I know every single thing about every single thing. It would be egotistical for me to say that. So stocks is a constant thing that you're learning on. Even on a technical level, it's so advanced. But I've always been fascinated by the idea. I don't see a lot of traders run ads. I don't see them run ads. I see them do a lot of organic content. I see them push it that way. So I wanted to ask your experience with that because
I definitely do. I see traders run ads for sure. Like even TJR, who's like huge organic, like he's running ads.
Yes, he is. I just saw his ad for a mentorship. It was like $200,000.
Anyone who knows about like scaling to the next level, ads is just a guaranteed way to get in front of high intent buyers that are messaging you inbound to buy. You're not having to chase them, you know, cold. And once you have that extra capital to do so, it's just the right thing to do, right? But
what position should you get into ads? At what point? What's like the minimum amount that you would take a client for? What should I be netting a month? Let's say I'm netting 10 a month. Is that enough for me
sure.
to? Okay. So where is the minimum?
Any amount. Like it doesn't really matter. I think that you should just structure your business to make it a business that can run ads profitably. What does that mean? Your programs, they're actual no-brainer offers. They're priced right so that you can make enough money on the ads that you're spending. And if you do all of those things, like anyone can start ads whenever. The sooner the better, because that's going to be a way where you consistently know how many clients you're getting every single month. And then anything that you get from organic, keep maximizing organic, but let that be a bonus, right? Because if I know that I spend $50,000 a month on ads and that gets me every single time a minimum of $200K, I know predictably to investors, to whoever I want to, you know, put my company in front of, that my company will continue to do this revenue consistently. But if I'm just basing it off content and my account gets shadow banned, or I have a bad month of content,
or you get injured, or you
all that, right?
Let me ask you this, and I'm asking this as like just a very easy question. I want people to hear it. Do you think that running ads will hurt your account in any way in terms of organic growth?
I don't think so. I think a lot of that stuff is myths. At the end of the day, if you're putting out viral potential content that has already proven to go viral, and you're just maximizing that whole strategy, I don't think you should have an issue with, you know, your account being affected.
Let me ask you another question too. A lot of people do this, right? A lot of people just boost. You know how they recommend, hey, boost this post, boost this. You think that's effective or no?
Like I said, I've seen some people say that it is effective, so I don't want to talk down on it completely. I don't think it's the best way to do things. I do think it's a quick money grab for Meta, and they're just like taking advantage of like inexperienced people that just want
because
like
it's right there.
It's right there. It's super easy.
And it's better for them to do that than, hey, create your Meta business profile.
Yeah. Oh no, they definitely make it easy. But yeah, I mean, it's all about, I'd say, split test, right? If someone tells you it's better, then, you know, have them run an ad with just a regular boost and then test it on Meta and see what's better. But
I feel like Meta, but it is complicated. Like running, okay, so it's very easy for you, and I know how to navigate it as well because I've done it. You know, we actually use AI ads for our insurance agency, which is really surprising. They actually work. But back in the day, Facebook ads was a nightmare. I mean, it was difficult to navigate. Linking the accounts, that kind of stuff. It's gotten a lot smoother in my opinion. What do you think is the hardest ad platform to learn and to master? You're saying Meta is the best. Is it easy to master? Is it hard?
I mean, look, it's always changing, right? So it's always going to be a little bit hard. That's the one that I'm specialized in the most. I've ran TikTok ads. I think TikTok ads is much easier to set up than Meta. But I don't think Meta is as hard as people make it seem.
It's definitely not as hard as people make it seem, but it is to the naked person. Like, it's not like click, plug, play. I want to run this.
For sure.
But it is very simple. They break it down for you.
Yeah, and another thing too is like Facebook like gives you like these like meta reps that you can use and call.
If you're spending enough money, it really helps too.
Yeah. So if you just want to learn the basics of it, like you don't even need to pay like a mentorship or a coach or whatever, like just use one of those free reps. And like, I'm not saying that they're going to print you results, but you'll learn the basics of how to run ads. At the end of the day, it's really just like have a good offer, target the right people, which, you know, it's not that hard to do in the detailed targeting section. Have some different ads that are separate ad sets for targeting. So one where you're using, you know, Meta's AI, another one where you're targeting certain interests, find the best one, use them on the same creative, and then just do that across many different creatives. Find the winning ones and, you know, slowly scale up. The biggest thing then comes into like the sales team aspect of it. It's like, okay, once we have X amount of leads coming in a day,
it's a huge problem. Yeah.
Right. That's where it becomes a challenge. It's like,
do you assist in that at all? Or is it, because that's theoretically like, because what you're looking for is good testimonials. You want people to say, hey, I've made this much money with him. But a lot of that, I feel like, not a lot of it, but a big portion of it is based off the sales team. If I've got great closers that are just dogs and a great process and a great follow-up and they reach out immediately with live lead, boom, hit, it probably would be better.
No, 100%. I mean, people like that, it's always going to be better to work with because they're going to make you look way better, obviously, than if it's people that their closers are showing up late to the call or they're groggy or they're not following up and then like they're just basing it off like that one call, not like, you know, all the systems and processes you're supposed to do after that. So I always try to offer as much as I can so that I can guarantee the process, you know. So I do have certain clients where I'll offer, you know, the whole setting process, the closing process. Like we do have
so you do DM setters.
Yeah. We do offer the full scope, but you know, there's times when a client just wants to come in with less budget and handle that themselves. So you kind of just have to deal with it.
Or their brother's doing it or their girlfriend's doing it or something
whatever.
Like that.
So yeah, sometimes there's those situations, but you know, thankfully I haven't really had too much of an issue. Like since I'm providing, you know, good results and good leads, like they end up making it work for sure.
What's the worst experience you had with a client?
The worst experience I've had with a client? There's quite like a lot, because one thing about me is like I'm not as like cutthroat, like out here like exposing people all the time. So I feel like people kind of take advantage of my kindness. Like another thing is like a lot of times people threat with like lawyers, but anyone smart knows that like if somebody scammed you for less than $30,000, like getting a lawyer is not even worth it.
The
right?
legal fees,
The legal fees, just the whole process, it doesn't make sense. So there's just a lot of times when people will like take advantage of things like that, and you know they could scam, or you know they could say that they're promising you X amount of commission, and then they don't actually come through and pay, or they don't actually show you the right data. Right? There's a lot of situations like that.
Is that common here? We can expose them, right? Everyone, we're dropping the names. Look,
it's crazy. No, it's crazy, bro. It happens. And another thing too is like sometimes what I also do is I'll white label for people. So everyone knows like I'm the OG when it comes to like all the services. Like I'm the one that's been offering them for 7 years. Like I have the best prices. I'm not like a reseller. So a lot of agency people will like come to me and then like leverage my services to sell to their clients. And then sometimes I'll like be nice and I'll be like, okay, like you don't have to pay me for these like clients that we have on retainer until like the next 30 days. And then there's just been situations where they'll just like run off or some bullshit because like they claim they found like another provider or something like that, and then like they won't pay you for the work for 30 days that like you had costs on. So stuff like that has happened. Just overall, like there is people out there that you just can't trust. So every day I just learn to like trust less and less. And just
It
not
sounds depressing.
but it's the truth, bro.
But it's an evaluation process. See,
Yeah.
okay. One thing I've learned in any business, right, is especially in commission-based models, it's very cutthroat. People are always going to fuck you over. That's just the way it goes. The biggest thing that you should probably have. Do you have a partner in your business?
No.
Okay, that's what you need. Not necessarily a partner, but someone that separates you. That's what you need.
No, I have that. Like I have a COO who's basically my partner. But yeah, right now I don't currently have like in the agency like any equity partners, which I have a lot of good reasons and a lot of value to provide about that too. But
It's not even like, okay, like it's not about cutting your profitability, but you need someone to be a spacer for you because like, look, if there's, let's say I bring Sarah in and Sarah's not a great person, hypothetically, right? If there's an evaluation mechanism there where it's like, hey, like we're going to look at you, we're going to do this, you talk a lot about brand presence. You talk a lot about personal branding. If you're giving people extreme direct access to you, it's not that it's the wrong thing to do. It devalues you in a certain way. And it makes it easier. You're a young guy, bro. Like, you know, I'm a young guy, but you're younger than me. It's easy to take advantage of you, but if someone's just cutthroat and not nice, it's harder. And it sounds bad, but like sometimes you need a good guy, bad cop kind of thing, you know?
For sure. No, yeah. I just like sometimes I don't need to like escalate things, you know, because now you deal with like the whole like defamation stuff, right? Where like you go out and expose someone and it's like, oh, they're trying to come at you. Yeah,
So
no, for sure. But I do have that, and I do agree with that, right? Like having somebody else's opinion, somebody else, you know, that can go and speak to those people. So like I said, I have like my COO who basically acts as like the CEO even of the company. But yeah, I had bad experience necessarily with like having equity partners because I had, when I first launched the agency, I wanted to bring on a partner because I had like this office space in New York, had some extra room. And at that time I was like, you know, if I bring somebody to work with me full time and like they're helping cover costs and stuff like that, like I have to give them equity. And this was like a good friend at the time. And I ended up having to buy him out. And that was like the best decision I made because he was just like wasting a lot of time in the company and it wasn't worth it. And, you know, you're making way more when you don't have to share, you know, a large amount of profits. And it's also way more incentivizing to wake up every day and crush it in the business when you know that.
But it's also more risk. It's also more pressure. And let me tell you, I'll give you, this is my
there's
opinion.
obviously both sides. I mean, there's very successful partnership stories, right? So
the most successful people in the world are equitized at a low level. The most successful people in the world. You look at any large company from Microsoft to Amazon. You look at they're that's a 1%, that's a 9%. Tesla's a 17%. Marriott is 18%. They're low equity partnerships, and it's because they diversify. I mean, obviously they built up. These are multi.
Yeah, that's the thing too,
large
right?
companies.
When you're in like smaller scales, I think you can get away with it. If you want to get to that $1 billion level, which is kind of like at LinkMe, right? So at LinkMe, it's more of like a $1 billion project, which is why, you know, we're 3 co-founders there, right? So I do have partners there. But with the agency, I just feel like sometimes what people misconstrue is that what they'll do is they'll be like, oh, I need extra support. I need extra help. Let me get a partner. But what I found, which is the biggest hack, $1 million hack guaranteed, is find a team member that you can pay a decent, good salary to.
Yeah, of course.
And they're going to do the same amount of work that a partner will do. They're also going to do it with way less ego because a partner, once the business is making money, is going to be like, no, I don't want to be on the sales team. I don't want to take sales calls. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But if it's someone that you're paying salary and they're just as talented, but you originally came with the idea of salary and not partnership, they're never going to tell you, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do this because, you know, the payment structure is different. So that's what I found extremely valuable and something that I like to share to people that are, you know, just getting started and making those decisions.
But this is where I guess I haven't said it. The best negotiator for you sometimes is a lawyer, you know? Like if I have conversations that I don't want to take, I just put my lawyers on it. And this is a budget that you have to run. I mean, it takes a lot of money to have the team of lawyers or heavy lawyers on staff or internal, but that is my best mechanism. Because when someone tries to fuck me over or hurt me in any way, I've always been a nice guy too. I've always been someone that's been taking advantage of me. You know, I'm a short Indian dude. You know, they're all like, oh, I'm gonna pick on Sumi. But once I lawyered the fuck up, nobody fucks with me. You know, and before I do any business with anybody, my lawyers are involved in every conversation. They're CC'd on every email. They're all around. And it's not like I'm trying to be imposing or threatening. It's just that God forbid if things go wrong. God forbid if this doesn't work out and you don't like me. Let's solve this amicably. And he's pinned on every single thing. I forward every single email. And what sucks about lawyers, they cost a lot of money. That's the only fucking problem with lawyers, right? And that's the issue. But it saved me a lot of money. I've had people in the insurance business and other businesses that I've had that have stabbed me in the back, that have done things because they see an opportunity. And I don't like necessarily blame them in a way, but they see an opportunity to do something that's not necessarily morally correct, but financially it could give them a short-term benefit. And having lawyers in place, having things in place, having contracts. So when I do let's say I do a marketing contract with you for 90 days, right? I'm sure you have contracts in place, but I would just overdo it. That's my only mechanism. And the separation really helps you as well. So when you deal with direct, even though you might be the most knowledgeable and the most direct negotiator and the best one, you shouldn't do it because your brand is too large, because you are too valuable. And it sounds bad and it sounds scary to delegate it, but I know you have like a team of 300 people. So what I'm saying now is not that I don't think you know this, but when it comes to people getting messed over, I think there are good people in the world. I 100% believe that. And as I've become more successful, I've kind of in the mid-tier of my success, right? I found a lot of people that stab me in the back. But now that I'm doing like high-level business, I deal with less people, and the people I deal with are amazing because they're successful themselves. So when you deal with ultra-successful people, they're going to be more aware of their reputation, which is probably why you work with more high-ticket clients with bigger offers,
For sure.
But so that person that stabbed me in the back, or not stabbed me in the back, the ego of it, right? The other part, the equity is good too, though. Equity can motivate people. When people say, "Oh, I have a percentage in this," they feel they're less likely to get poached, and they're less likely to leave to go to another offer, to another ad agency. Let's say I open up my own ad agency tomorrow. I can come and poach your people hypothetically, and I could take that away from you. When they're equitized, it's a lot harder. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, no, one thing I did when I was dealing with that a lot, which was, building out a sales team, and then you have, all these people making content all the time, like be your own boss and stuff like that. It's very hard to maintain a sales team, right? So what I did in that case, which maybe was a mistake, maybe it wasn't, but instead of giving equity, what I did was every time they'd close a deal that we would get from ads, if they were the one to close and the client stays on a monthly retainer, they would get a commission every single month. So instead of paying them or giving them equity,
they're literally equitized in the business.
Right? They're equitized in a sense. They just don't necessarily have that equity. And I always would tell them, it's like, look, I've been at LinkMe for 5 years as a co-founder. I've gotten us insane results, huge ARR, gotten the biggest influence in the world. And because I chose to go the equity route and not even take a salary in the company, I don't have a dollar to show for like everything we've done at LinkMe. I have like my equity, obviously, so the day we sell, it's a huge payday. But in their case, they're getting paid out every single month. And sometimes it's better to like actually receive that cash every month versus just like that equity. And then if I don't even ever sell the company, then that equity really didn't mean anything to you. And the reason why I say maybe that was a, worst decision that I did that with paying them monthly was because obviously my margins were smaller, and maybe I could have gone the route of saying, hey, look, you have equity, and then I don't ever even sell the company. So that equity meant, nothing. And now I have way more retained capital, right? So it goes both ways, but 100%, I'm 100% aware of the fact that as you grow and you want to, excel and to be that billion-dollar company, you obviously need to start giving equity to different team members, and that's how all the big companies do it. But I just found like one of the hacks is that, sometimes you can give somebody equity and, it just becomes normal to them after a month.
Maybe you just had a bad friend, man. Maybe something, and I'm just giving you because you're 100%, you know your business better than me, so you made the right decision in the moment. I've given out equity before. I've definitely regretted it more times than I have appreciated it. But the ones that I did appreciate, they've done well for me. And I think you just have to go through, like, think about it like marriage, right? How many girls have you dated or talked? How many girls have you talked to in your life, right? How many people have you dated? How many people have you talked to? Mm-hmm. How many dates have you gone on? And how many of those, like, you might have gone on maybe 50 dates. I don't know how aggressive you are as a dater, but like, how many of them have become your wife?
Yeah. It's a volume game for sure.
It's the same thing in business. Like when you're hiring people, I think that's one of the most discouraging things with business because you're looking at it so technically. Whereas in relationship, it's like an ebb and flow. You get sick of someone and you get tired of them and you get tired of their emotional, like your tolerance goes down. Whereas in business, you theoretically want to see it go up. You hired somebody, you want them to perform for you at the same level, if not better, every single month after. With relationships, it's an up and down emotional roller coaster, and it can even be on your fault as well. So with business, I always try to stay really positive. It does burn me out. That's why, like, I've I used to do a lot of different businesses. I used to be in a lot of different things, and I realized like I would have so many different partners, and it was so tiring to me. Now I just keep a few partners, run the business very consistently, and I just manage it at a very back end model. What do you mean? What's your long term goal with the ad agency?
So yeah, possibly an exit, is starting to be interesting, and I'm developing more tools within the company to prepare and position myself. Like we're really building more into like a SaaS company,
Trying to
tech
automate?
based, yeah, a lot of dashboard systems and stuff like that to really give us a bit of like those tech valuations. So definitely starting to prepare myself in that way. But I do think that there's so much room for growth, so much untapped stuff that I know I'm capable of. Like the ad spend could get to 500K a month before even thinking about an exit. I could set up affiliates across the country, and do like those whole like amphitheater, free events where you're then like giving value and pitching people at the end. Like there's still so much that I can do that I know I'm capable of. So I'm not in a rush to sell. For now, I just see it as, the cash cow plan. But definitely I'll slowly start preparing myself for that, because, an exit is always nice. But then what comes with it too is like the terms that I set up, right? So really making sure that, I'm not giving myself the ability to like never be able to do marketing again, right? Or like making sure that the time frame is like making sense with like what the payout is, right? So that's definitely the next
The problem
steps
with good
I'd do.
exits is this: when you have a business that's really like easy to exit, like let's say you can automate everything. The problem is you can get a very good evaluation and technicality because it's all automated for me. If I'm a buyer and I buy your business for whatever amount of money, $100 million, right? Let's say I buy it for $100 million. You already have the cash flow in, you're making $10 million a year, 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, I could hopefully get my money back as the business grows. But the problem is when you can automate things so well, you can also set up another division like that. So the market is so competitive. So if there's not a brand built, that's a big thing. Do you brand your company a lot, or do you focus more on personal branding with yourself for like when you're running, like when you're getting people in, is it mainly through you or the company?
Yeah, it's through the company, because that's another thing too, right? People always talk about like, your company's going to have more value when you're not necessarily like tied as the face of the company, right? So I always try to keep it separate and like run ads just to the company, and like on the website, like it doesn't even talk about me or stuff like that. So we keep it to the website, we keep it to the agency page specifically.
Cool. And I guess to wrap up here, like what's something that you really struggled with in like life that you haven't said this on other podcasts? Like you talked about how you didn't have money, how you wanted to be successful, how your parents like your struggle of just hustling, and you were passionate about becoming successful. But I guess what was like something that you really struggled with deep down? Was there ever a moment where you wanted to give the business up? Was there ever a moment where you were like, hey, like I don't want to do this anymore, I want to be an entrepreneur? What was that moment?
Yeah, I wouldn't say so deep as like a moment of where I didn't want to be an entrepreneur, but I did have like a kind of like reality check moment back in, I'd say this was in 2020. I became a millionaire that year, I'd say, and I was starting to make a lot of money, like 300K revenue a month. And I think what starts happening at those time periods is like, let's say you tell me to invest in something, I'm making 300K revenue a month. I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to invest 100K into that thing. You tell someone else to invest in that and they're making 5K a month, they're going to be like, I'm going to put $500 into that thing, right? So when you're making a lot more, now your risks are being way bigger without you noticing it, right? So I kind of made that mistake. Like, for example, when I was making a lot of money, I started trading options. Wasn't so good at it, and basically you could only have unlimited day trading if you set up that like $25,000 minimum on Robinhood, unless you made it like a cash account, but then it had like some other restrictions.
They're getting
like,
rid of that now though.
Every time my account would go down, I would reload it with 25K, and then I probably lost like 300K in options, but that's nothing. Then that same year I had two situations. So one situation was basically I was having issues with processing accounts. I had this good friend that was living with me actually at the other SLS in the penthouse. He was basically paying like no rent because he was going to be like a sales guy with me. He had a Stripe account for like 2 years doing 2K a month. So I was having issues with processing. So I was like, yo, let me use this account. I'm going to pay you a monthly. We're going to add a separate bank account to it, whatever. 3 months go by where he was doing that. Like he was supposed to be paying me out. Month one, he paid me all good. month 2 and month 3, he was like, hey, bro, let me hold some of the money that's coming in, a percentage of it, because,
Chargebacks.
no, like he just said, like, let me hold a percentage of it and I'll give you like 30K on top, as profit. I didn't know what he was doing. So 2 months later, he introduced me to this kid and he's like, yo, bro, this kid is launching these meme coins. He's guaranteeing a 10X.
Man.
You gotta invest with him. So I end up basically giving this one kid to invest in this guaranteed 10X. He sent me this fake contract, and this kid ended up being like, people were trying to kidnap him or whatever, but gave him 180K. Then on top of that, the 2 to 3 months that he didn't pay me, right, the other person that I was working with, he owed me a total, once I ran up the numbers, of 350K. And then he was the person that introduced me to the person that I gave the 180K. And then he ended up saying that he took that money that he owed me, the 350, and gave it also to that same kid.
And then he got fucked, yeah.
And he got fucked and lost it. So I dealt with literally like a bunch of lawyers, and I was only able to get back like 100K from that kid. And then that same year was a year that I bought out my partner as well for like 200K. So literally in 1 year, at 19, 20 years old, I basically took an L of $1 million. But that same year I profited, the year right after that, I profited 1.2. So, I made it all back, right? And now I've made way more. And I think that's something that like a lot of like the people around me like saw, like, my parents, my friends, that like something can happen like that. And other people, they lose $1 million, they'll go depressed, they'll try to talk about suicide, they'll talk about crazy shit. All I did was get right back to it, not really, pay attention to like getting my money back every day, really just locking in on the business. And so that was probably like, like a real challenge, right? Losing a ton of hard-earned money that everything was from like all my efforts putting in every single day. Like I never had no trust fund or any bullshit like that, hand-me-down money. So that was a big moment in my career. But now that was just a lesson that made me smarter, because I never really got scammed after that or dealt with any bullshit like that. And I've been able to maintain $1 million plus, multi-million-dollar net worth for like the last 5+ years. So, yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, first thing I'll say is options, dude. A lot. You know how many people I meet that get burned with options? Because options they're not easy. I think 98% of people that trade options lose money. It's that high, So it's not like in the world. But what options were you doing? Were you doing short term, like week expirations?
Yeah,
or?
sometimes I was doing longer, but even when you would do longer, like
what
to be honest,
what
I
was
didn't
long?
really. I mean, you could do like 2 months, but even if like the stock would go down enough, like when even if there's like a month left in the expiration, like it just gets like cooked, like regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so yeah, there was just situations like that. But I made my good money in crypto. Like I'm an early investor in XRP, so I probably profited like 200K on XRP. So I've had a few wins in the markets, just not necessarily with options.
Yeah, man, we got to get you into options the right way, man.
Bro,
options are amazing, man. Crypto is great. Crypto's wonderful. I'm not a big crypto investor. I have crypto, not that I don't have crypto, but like everything, it depends on what you're good at, right? You might be very good at ads. If I go and run my own ads, which I have ran my own ads and stuff like that, but let's say someone runs their own ads, they may not be good. They may just be trying to switch things out. I think a lot of times people expect crazy results immediately. Like when you fund a campaign, it takes a little bit of time for it to really like find out what works. And I think that's the big issue that people have. But no, man, super insightful stuff. If you had one lesson to give everybody in the world, not necessarily in ads, but just generally in life, what would it be?
Number one, I would say like reputation is everything, right? So when people ask for a refund or something and you're like, oh, like, I have X amount in my bank account, I like how it looks right now, like I'm going to do whatever I can to like not give this refund, like fuck that mentality. Give the refund, because after a week, when you look at your account, you won't even remember that you refunded. If you're making more money, you won't even remember. So reputation is everything. My reputation is stellar. Like you go around, talk about me with like other entrepreneurs, or you see like all the top entrepreneurs that follow me on Instagram, Luke Belmore, Jordan Welch, like everyone knows that I'm a legit entrepreneur. So I think that reputation is key, and that's the most valuable thing. The next thing I would say is making sure that you're selling something high ticket, a done for you service, and also implementing a way to have, a monthly recurring subscription within that too. And then the next thing is just building badass fulfillment, so that every time that you bring in customers, not only are you retaining them, but they're referring you customers. And if you have those 3 things that you're focused on, like there's no way you can't be a millionaire and beyond and just keep that forever.
Fire, bro. Fire, bro. Appreciate you guys for checking in with us. My boy Dre here. We're going to link all the socials down below. How can people connect with you if they want to work with you, if they want to talk? What's the easiest way they can connect with you?
Just send me a DM on Instagram, Dre Medici, DREMEDICI.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in with us. You could have been anywhere in the world. You hung out with us. Till next time. Peace.